Hello, it's Anna here from Paper Craft Create and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be playing with lots of foil art and foil and creating a gorgeous sort of semi-non-traditional Easter 3D project. So I'm using products from the wonderful Crafty Critta, and I'm very excited to announce that I'm now a design team member. So I'm really enjoying having a play around with all their gorgeous products, and I thought I'd show you something a little bit different using a few of their wonderful products. So I'll just show you what I'm going to be using. So I'll actually be using some of their designer papers, so these gorgeous papers, and they will I'll just be using a little bit of that together with some foiled product. And I'm using this foil art set, so this is toner printed foil art, and basically I'll be using a silver foil to create a gorgeous foiled finish. Now, together with that, what I thought I might do is I'm also going to use the negative of my foil, and I'm going to be using a color toner sheet. So the negative piece that comes off this one, I'm going to put it on and use actually the pink from this one here, and just show you how you can use both the positive and negative of the foil pieces, and just run through how I go through it all. And the gorgeous silver stars, so glittered silver stars, is what I'll be using with this particular arty project. So now I've got my Mink machine here, and I've had it heating up. Now I've found that with my machine and with my pressure and everything that happens, number 2 is a setting that works best for me. So I'm going to stick with that today, and fingers crossed that it all works out well. So just in a moment we'll get on with our first few steps. Okay, so I will be foiling this particular toner art sheet. Now what I'll do is I'll just move my carrier sheet across here for a minute. Oops. And then I'll cut a piece of foil. Now I think I'll do this whole section. I'm not going to be using the whole section, but majority of it, and I just think it's probably just going to be a little bit easier just to cover the whole piece rather than try to measure it exactly. Just give me a little bit of extra wiggle room. Now I'm going to be making like a 3D bunny basket, which is going to be either like a little gift that you can give someone for some chockies, or if you'd like to do it as a table decoration if you're hosting Easter at your place. So what I like to do is give it a good dust over. Then I will put this over the top. I'll just work out where I'm going to do this. I haven't used one of these, but I think it might be an easier gig, so I'll just, oh, this is gorgeous. Oh, this cuts like butter, so that's a really good tip. Should close that up. So yeah, so if you're wanting to cut your foil, one of these little rotary cutters that's just for papers would be really handy. Otherwise a really nice sharp pair of scissors works really well to cut the foil. So we've cut our foil. Now I will also do a little bit of dusting on here. Now the reason we do this is just to make sure there aren't any extra particles, dust particles, pet hair, anything that could cause the foil not to stick toward here to this toner. So I think that will be all great, and I'm going to pop this in the carrier sheet. So these carrier sheets are fantastic. I've had better success with a carrier sheet than I have with a, like just a, some people use copy paper, other people use like a baking paper or parchment paper. I just find these to be the greatest for me. So just work out what works for you and go with that. So I'm just going to run this through and we'll see how this carries on. So So the little project I'm putting together today, I'm actually using my Brother Scan and Cut. So I've bought a file, and I'll leave description of a link I should say, in the description box of where I purchased my cutting file, if it's something you might like to do. But I just thought this would be a great opportunity just to show you. I love to do things that are non-traditional, as well as traditional at times, but I like to really think outside the box when I'm doing these little projects. So we've just run that through. I'll just push that to one side. I'll just let this cool. So what we want to do is make sure that our foil is completely cooled before we take off any of the foil and do the big reveal, which is what I very much enjoy most. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, what I'm going to do is once I reveal the foil and we see the toner items that have been foiled, I will then use my pink toner paper to do the negative. And oh, I just love this bit. Have a look at that. Just absolutely gorgeous. Now I do have a couple of spots, but you can barely see them. Actually, no, almost completely perfect. So I'm pretty happy with that. I can live with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I will give this one a good dusting. Actually, what I might do is I might move this completely out the road. Don't have a huge space here, but we'll make it work. Okay, now there are a few little speckled bits, but look, I'm not going to worry about that. They're so little that, you know, I just don't think it's going to be a problem whatsoever. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pop this in the carrier sheet again. Just have a look here. I'll line it up on this side because I'll be able to see where that is. Now, once again, you always want your foil to cover over all bits of toner, because what will happen is if any of the toner is exposed on your carrier sheet, it will actually mark the carrier sheet. And it just might, you know, muck up some foiling down the track, but not too disastrous. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one through, and we'll be back in just a sec when this has gone all the way through. Okay, so that's just about passed through, so we'll take this out. Fantastic, and this is going to look pretty amazing. So I'm just going to let that cool a second. Now I like to just bring my machine just down to 0, just let it cool slightly before I turn it off completely. So that is cool to the touch. I think that's all pretty fantastic. Have a look at that. That looks so good. The pink is such a striking color on the silver. It looks really fantastic. So I'm going to do the big reveal, which will be pretty much what it is. So there we go. So now, instead of having, you know, a lot of the time you have just the black toner sheets, and this is just a really nice bright pop of color. So that's super fantastic. Now I'm going to go away and just cut all the bits and pieces on my Brother Scan and Cut. I thought I would just leave it out because it is quite time consuming at times, so I thought rather than clog up this video with just lots of cutting, I'll come back with all the pieces. Okay, so I'm back. I've cut out a whole bunch of pieces with my Brother Scan and Cut machine. So this is the pattern paper, and that'll be a nice little bow. And then here are my gorgeous bits of foiled papers. So I have mirrored in the two different colors, and then I've got some other rectangles which are also cut out that will be our sides of our little box. And then I've got there just some matting pieces for those, so I'll just pile everything up. Then I've got green as a nice pop of color behind both the pink and the white and silver. Put those to one side, and then actually this is the very bottom, so it's layered up 3 times, so it'll be nice durable box. And this is the 3rd layer too. Okay, so what I might do is I might start with this bottom panel. Now I'm just going to, there's just some score lines that have been cut into that, so I'm just going to burnish all of those. So this will be our little basket component. So just giving all of those a nice burnish. There's one here too. Now you've got all these little sort of triangular pieces. I'll just do those quickly with my thumb. I'll just do a little burnish, but sort of because they're quite small, a little hard to do. Okay. Oops. Then I'll pull these ones over too. I just love doing some Easter crafts and putting together little table decorations or little treat packs or other little things. I'd love to hear in the comments if you're the same and you'd love to do those too. So I will continue on. I might start matting up these layers. So what we will do is we will get some glue. Actually, I think I might do a combo of the glue and the the tape runner. Now what I like to do is do a combo of the 2 adhesives. So the tape is quite good because it's quick and it doesn't need any drying time. And the glue is sort of good because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. So I tend to do the glue on the outer bits, so when I first put it down before the tape sort of adheres, I can sort of wiggle it around so I've got a nice even border on my matted layers. So I'm not sure if that's sort of something that you do or something you hadn't heard before, but I find it to be a really, really good way to make sure that I've got a little bit of extra time just to line those up nicely. Okay. Perfect. So I'll make sure. So what have we got happening here? I thought if we could get sort of similar looking pieces. Okay, now I'll just do these. Now I might just fast forward this because you know, it'll take a minute just to put the 2 of these layers together. You can see how I do all of that. So now I'm putting together this bow. I'm just softening the paper there and giving it a little bit of volume. I've also just used one of these little clips. You may know them if you do any sort of sewing or dressmaking, quilting. They come in super handy for paper craft. So I will just attach that one to there, and then I'll clip it. It's really good for keeping things an extra pair of hands, particularly when you're sticking stuff like this together. This is very, very super cute. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just sort of very loosely sort of wrap that around. And I'm just going to put a dab of glue. Actually, I might put that on there, and then I can put a clip on again, and that just keeps it all nice and secure, and then I can move on with my other stuff, and we'll make sure that that's all really well stuck together. Fantastic. Okay, I just need to do one other little thing to this. Is now prepare actually a couple of little things. Firstly, I'm just going to adhere. Actually, I might do it by tape runner. This will actually just give the box all a little bit more stabilization at the top and just make it a little bit stronger. So I'm just going to put a couple of dabs of glue. I just don't want that to be too wet. Now once again, I might just put a couple of clips on that for a second. Keep that down while I do the other side, particularly at these ends. Just a couple of dabs of glue. I just find I get so messy if I use too much glue. I always put my fingers in it, and it just causes a lot of grief for me. However, I do like that sometimes you do need something with a little bit more stronger hold than just the tape gun here. So I can let those go now. Okay, now I'll prepare these because they'll go on next before we put everything else together. So just putting, once again, a bit of tape runner and glue. Now with, whenever you're doing anything like this, it's always a great idea to put your mats on first before you try to put boxes together, because it will be really hard to put it on once it's all together, into a box. It's just much easier to do when you do it this way. Now let's have a look here. That is the way. I'll take these off now. I think I'll have this up this way, so just centering that on this panel, and then we'll be doing the same for this other side. Okay, gorgeous. Oh, I just love the colours. The colours are so bright and vibrant. Absolutely love them. Okay, now this is where we need to put our rabbit together, box together. So we'll do one side at a time. So I haven't decided whether I want to go pink or silver, but that can be your choice. Absolutely your choice. So we're going to sort of create, and I might just got to see how far this is. We're basically putting this in behind the rabbit, so it might be best to, I think we're probably best to line this up to the bottom. So I'm going to do my tape once again, and then I will do a bit of glue. Now you choose to do, if you want to use just glue, or if you've got a really sturdy double-sided tape, that's also quite good for 3D projects. Now I'm just going to try and center this. along this bottom section. Okay, so it might even pay just to sit that as best as you can right across the bottom, and you want that sort of centered within that bottom section there. Okay, and then what we'll do is we're going to lift one side up and glue that on just like so. So I'm going to leave all of these down like that. I'll add glue just on all these little triangles. It's going to be way too hard to try and get the tape runner on that, so I'll just put a dab of glue on all of that. Now the glue will also give you a little bit of lead time, so if you need to move things around you can do so. So hopefully you can see that. So I've just put that there. Just do the same to this other side. So I will, once again, you see what I'm doing there? Yep, I'm just putting glue on these on the top of these. Awesome. And it's going to be a slight, on a slight angle, so it's not a straight up bucket. Sort of basket, should I say, not bucket. Okay, that is looking fabulous. Okay, so we can have that just there. That is looking great. So that's essentially what our little bucket's going to look like. Oh, it just is the cutest. I do love this combination. Now what I might do with this one, so I think I'm going to put all of the glue on. I'll just put a little dab underneath there and on all of those, because it's pretty much set in place on the other side. We should be able to just line that up really well. So now my best to do this so we can all see what's going on here. Just needs to move a little further back. I think that's actually pretty good. Actually, I can probably line it up on my grid here. I think that's going to be great. Now I'm just going to, oops, press on these on the inside. I'm sorry that I probably can't really show you, but I'm just getting my scorer and just pressing in on those, making sure that they're getting stuck down. You'll just have to hold it a bit, obviously, because the glue takes a minute to dry and we can't sort of get clips into there. But I think that's going to turn out really gorgeous. Okay, so now our last little bit to finish off this gorgeous little basket is to put our bow tie on. Now ideally this rabbit has a bow only on one side, so now the decision is, do we do it pink on silver or we do the hot pink? Now I'm a hot pink sort of girl. I do love silver as well, but I think that I would love the pink on pink with the silver on this one here. And it even looks with those sort of like that water speckly look there to oh my goodness, that's so cute. So I'm going to put a dab of glue But I think I might even try and get a little bit of tape on there, because it's just with the slickness of the foil, it might be a bit slippery, might not take to so great. So I will hold on to that for a minute. And there is our finished little project. So, you know, obviously you can fill it with some eggs. I would probably get like a little cellophane bag, pop it in there with some ribbon and really finish it off quite nicely. Unless, you know, if it is a table, you know, table seat decoration, you could just have the person's name on there and then just put in some eggs, or some chocolates, treats of their liking, and that's it. So I'll put together a nice little photo and show you how it all turns out. But I'll hopefully you've enjoyed that project. If you want to give it a go, as I said, I'll leave a link to the cutting file. It is one that needs to be purchased, but of course I'll give you all the details of all the foiling products that I used from Crafty Critta, and you can head there. Now I do have a 5% discount, so I'll leave the discount code down below, and you can use that and get 5% off any of your purchases with Crafty Critta. So please do have a look, and I hope I've inspired you to make something quite cute for Easter. Thanks so much. Till next time, happy crafting.